sales of 11,000, meaning Newcastle will suffer employment loss of 30,000. Newcastle lost 3,000. Was pure speculation. The near future of the industry depended on many unknown factors, he said, including the result of public education and the capital works program of the government in power. The AFCC said, however, that no capital works program would be able to compensate for the lack of private investment. The Federation expected a long-term recovery in private construction.
Duet for One starts tomorrow at the Civic Theatre as part of an Australian tour to 5 centres. The finishing touches to the play were added today. Helen Morse plays Stephanie Abrahams, a famous violinist who contracts multiple sclerosis. Her concerned doctor and the man who tries to help her face a new life is played by Don Reed. The play is telling on both performers, who carry the entire 2-hour show. To Helen, it's one of the most important roles she has played.
I think it's probably one of the most demanding I've ever had to play. And the character herself, I love.
Don, is this the first time you have worked with Helen?
Well, it is in the theatre, yeah. But on 2 occasions. First time, a long time ago, we worked on television. I won't say when the first time was, shall I? That was a good while ago. She was very young. Yeah, but this is the first in the theatre, yeah.
And your first visit to Newcastle?
Yes, it is. Well, as a performer, it is, yes.
Duet for One, which played to standing room only in Sydney, appears nightly at the Civic Theatre until Saturday.
We've always found Newcastle to be an energetic and vibrant centre and a great supporter for good music.
The price of music, Aviva, has that gone up dramatically this year?
No, the increase is about 9%, which we believe to be particularly reasonable, given that the arts are particularly labour intensive and have other factors affecting them, such as the costs of transport and accommodation, which are running at rates of about 19% per annum.
Some of the groups appearing this year, they come from all sorts of areas. Can you tell us about them?
Well, we have groups from Japan, the Tokyo Quartet, from England, the Fortunes Fire Lute Song Ensemble, and the Academy of St Martin in the Fields, the most widely recorded orchestra in the world. Then we have the Borodin Trio from Russia, the Consortium Classicum from Germany, the Orford Quartet from Canada, making its first Australian tour. And then we have an Australian group, the Sydney Wind Quintet. We'll have 3 groups performing in the Art Gallery later in the year. And all in all, I think it's a very balanced season and one which offers a really wide international flavour.
In your opinion, how does the City Hall rate as a concert venue?
I'd say City Hall is one of the best halls in Australia. In fact, I'd say it's the second best hall in Australia after the Adelaide Town Hall.
The scheme, a first for Australia, was explained at a media conference at the board's headquarters this afternoon. It's been developed in association with TAFE, the Apprenticeship Directorate and the Building Workers Industrial Union, and will rely on state and federal government funds. Board General Manager Mr Jeff Connell explained that initially it's hoped 80 apprentices will be involved, transferring from the dole to a special training allowance. While the Technical College would be able to continue the one-day-a-week classroom instruction, the important ingredient missing for the unemployed is on-the-job training. The apprentices will now be able to work on non-commercial community projects throughout the Hunter region.
Right now we want apprentices in that sort of a situation, that is out of trade, unemployed, in the building trades, to go to the technical colleges, register as being willing to undertake this type of work, and also to register with the Apprenticeship Directorate. and through that mechanism they will then their names will be given to us, and we can start compiling lists of apprentices to be taken into this scheme.
The Building Workers Industrial Union has been involved in the planning stages and is happy with the scheme.
We've made it abundantly clear, and I think that we have agreement generally by the company that it's not an ongoing activity, nor will it seek to replace the traditional apprenticeship training roles with the employer and apprenticeship relationship, but rather it supplements the existing and fills a vacuum, as I pointed out. Again, we'll be watching and monitoring very closely the development of the scheme itself, and if there are some problems arise, well then we'll just have to take them up and battle them out on the management committee.
The paper has installed a new 5-unit offset Harris printing press and typesetting equipment. The press, the most modern in the Hunter Valley, will print a 40-page black and white newspaper at a top speed of 18,000 copies an hour. For the last 8 years, the Muswellbrook papers have been printed at Gunnedah and Tamworth. Managing Director of the Muswellbrook Publishing Company, Mr. Bernard McClintock, says his company has faith in the immediate future of the Upper Hunter. He says that although the drought has affected the cash position in the area, investment had to continue when the industrial future for the Hunter was exceedingly bright. The typesetting equipment is an online computerized system with 4 visual display units feeding typeset material into a computer memory bank. From the computer, the information is fed into a composing unit, which then translate the print onto photographic paper proofs. Each page is then pasted up in the required format. A subsidiary company, Hunter Valley Print, will also be using the new press for setting up other commercial printing jobs.
Happy to win in the end. It was a bit hairy for a little while there because we let the first game slip, but we're glad to win.
Was that nerves, the first game?
I don't think it was so much nerves. The Israelis, they surprised us a little bit. They were a little bit more aggressive than what we're used to, and a little bit more professional, say, and they surprised us, threw us off our game, and we took a little while to adjust.
They surprised us here too, David, because we got all these reports about niggly back play, knocking the players' feet from under him. Was it that accurate?
Yeah, they generally indulged in that sort of tactic to try and just try and throw us off our games.
And it worked in the first game?
Yeah, we were just a little bit naive, and we let that work in the first game, but the second game the boss corrected us and everything went well.
Ralph, a great experience for you to go over there, and obviously Les Shineflag's really got a good team together now.
Oh, well, that's for sure. We've been together 8 months, living like professionals and that. So now we go to Mexico, and hopefully, we'll do as well over there as we did in Costa Rica.
Yeah. When did you think you were a chance to win it?
Well, after our win against Costa Rica 3-0, that put us, in the kind of box seats.
Not only were they proud to wear the green and gold of Australia, but they were proud to be given a welcome home by the Lord Mayor Joy Cummings at her chambers in City Hall. Back home and straight into it, with a game with KB United against the senior Australian side at the International Sports Centre on Saturday.
Shergar is owned by a syndicate including the Aga Khan and Robert Sangster and is valued at nearly $16 million. Under the cover of darkness, the stallion was snatched from the stud farm in a horse box by 2 armed men. It's thought to be the first recorded kidnapping of a stallion and stud. Shergar cantered home in the 1981 English Derby Classic by 10 lengths, the widest margin this century. The first foal he sired was dropped last Wednesday.
Previously, the chemicals were added to our water supply at Chichester Dam as it was pumped into pipes destined for the coalfields in Newcastle. But times are changing. This junction station at Torres was completed in December. Its function to add chlorine to the water supply. The amount of chlorine added is 1 part per million, and it's monitored by this machine. The flow of water and the subsequent amount of chlorine is graphed, so that if anything unusual occurs, the attendant can rectify the situation quickly. The beauty of this device is that it's automatic. Today, workmen were installing an electric hoist to make it easier to set the huge cylinders in place. The chlorination plant at Tara, which was built at a cost of $110,000, is one of 3 to be built in the Hunter Valley. It's seen as the cheaper of 2 alternatives, the other being a $20 to $30 million treatment plant near Chichester Dam. But as the Hunter District Water Board says, it's all for the betterment of our water supply.
For 6 months, Singleton Council advertised this land with finance at 10%. The council sold 3 blocks. 2 weeks ago, the council offered the same land on an interest-free basis.
We've sold 41 blocks to today. That's nearly half the estate. Been an outstanding success. We expected we would get good response from locals, particularly young married people, newly engaged. But what we found is we've got interest from Newcastle, from Sydney, from up the valley, young people, investors, the whole range of prospective home builders.
It's not just encouraging speculation, you believe that it will encourage actual building?
That's right, because we've limited it to 1 block per person. It's terms over 5 years. We're trying to protect their ability to get a house loan at reasonable interest rates, and so that their total house and land package becomes a reasonable proposition for a young couple.
How long can you keep it going?
We intend to try to sell out this subdivision, so we expect that'll take about another month.
Former Australian champion Barnard Sports, now under the title of Manning River Hotel, is one of the favoured boats and will have a lot of local support as it's in front of a home crowd, as is Spice Sails, sailed by Linda Connington, who also carries the hopes of the fair sex. Champion boats including national title holder Harvey World Travel, Terry McLeod of the St George Club, Flexilum TBA and Yellow Pages will also receive plenty of support too in the event, which will be sailed over 2 days. 30 boats from as far away as Sydney clubs and Wagga will take part in the event.
Workmen battled the blistering heat this morning as they worked on the long-awaited New Med 2 building. Hughes Brothers are the contractors for the 70-week project. For the next few weeks, they'll be engaging in preliminary work to ready the site for the actual construction. No damage was done to the site, which lay idle for more than 12 months. A spokesman for the Mater says the building should be completed and ready for occupation by 1985. Representatives from the Mater last week met with officials from the soon-to-be-closed Sydney Hospital to discuss the possible transfer of staff and equipment. It's expected to be a costly exercise, and the Minister for Health, Mr Brereton, says he'll make his final decision on the transfer next month. Agricultural show art competitions have taken on a new lease of life, if the Maitland Art Show is any indication. This year, the Maitland Art Show received a record number of entries in its 2 categories. The print section, which received 58 entries, has the richest prize money in the eastern states. The $500 first prize went to Ray Arnold of Victoria for his print Red Ascending. The joint first prize for the open section of $2,500 went to Anne Taylor of Balmain for her collage Mackerel Beach, and John Earl of Thornton for his painting Gumtree Landscape.
A meeting of players was called this morning. 45 signed up for the season with the promise of a few more. All were unanimous in their decision to keep the football club going. But the club's committee has decided to continue with the pre-season matches and then take it from there.
The considered opinion at that meeting was that South should continue in the competition, but to use the pre-season competition as a trial horse or as a trial basis. And if we were happy with the turn-up of players during the pre-season competition, we would certainly participate in the 1983 competition.
But 45 players, that's all that have signed up for the moment, isn't really a healthy club, nor is it a good sign of support.
We would get by with that many players because I'm certain there were other blokes who couldn't be here today. In fact, I know that there are other players, several other players who couldn't be here for other reasons. And I consider myself that if they will come along to training and they will play, that we could play during the 1983 comp and do it quite well.
Today, parents gathered outside the office of State Treasurer and Member for Wallsend, Mr Booth, while a delegation met inside. The issue arose because at the beginning of the school year, enrolments in the lower grades totalled 294 and not the prescribed 301. 301st pupil will have to teacher. In the meantime, the lower grade classes of South Wallsend Public are required to undergo a complete reshuffle, which the parents say is an unnecessary disruption for the children. The spokesman for the parents, Mr Andrew Ferguson, was one of the delegates.
He didn't
who met
indicate
with
any
Mr.
confidence.
Booth on the issue.
Mr Booth said that we had presented our problem very well, that he was totally sympathetic, that he would see the Minister for Education, Mr Mulock, tomorrow, being Tuesday, and would see if that our request to have the local district inspector's decision reversed by Wednesday the 16th.
Was he confident?
He didn't indicate any confidence, except that he was quite sure that people could see the reason for our logic.
Mr Ferguson, if you're not satisfied by Wednesday, what's your next move?
we'll have another meeting of parents, and there are some indications amongst the kindergarten and first year parents at the moment that they intend to withdraw some of their children from school to avoid the problem of having to reorganise the classes during this short 4-week period.